One of the most beautiful places in Vietnam. In this video, I traveled to Ninh Binh to show you some of the amazing sights and things to do, including the stunning Moor Caves viewpoint with the iconic dragon on top of the mountain, the picturesque boat rides through the limestone cliffs, the largest complex of pagodas in Vietnam, some great accommodation options, the 1,000-year-old ancient capital and tomb of a king, and much more. Okay, quick stop in Hanoi on the way to Ninh Binh. It's a 2-hour flight from Ho Chi Minh City. The flight ticket was about 3 million dong, which can be a little bit cheaper if you book further ahead of time, but I booked sort of last minute. And it's been a little while since I've been in Hanoi, but back in the city, getting a little coffee while I wait for the bus to Ninh Binh. This here is actually the new taxi company in Ho Chi Minh City that is owned by Binh. And it's all electric cars and motorbikes, so you can get electric car taxis and bike taxis. I haven't tried it yet, but it's similar to Grab, which is the Uber of Vietnam. And VinFast is actually quite a big company now. I think they went public on the stock exchange and they're going into other markets like in Europe. So I think over time you're going to see more and more electric bikes and cars in Vietnam. Okay, back in Ninh Binh, and actually I was here 8 years ago when I first got to Vietnam, and it's kind of crazy because it's way busier than it was back then. I actually have a video on the channel, I'll link to it in the description, where I came here with a few friends and it was completely empty. There was absolutely no one here, and now you can see there's pretty much a constant stream of people up and down, and yeah, it's like a lot of people versus when I came here before. There's absolutely no one. I don't think there was even an entrance fee. Now it's 100k entrance. But yeah, you can hike up to the dragon at the top of the mountain, and it's still beautiful as ever. I mean, there wasn't much of a sunset, but it's still a great view from up here. Going through the cave. Watch your head. Just came out of the cave. Wow, and that was way longer than I expected. Very cool going through the cave here. It was like 15 minutes of going down the river through the cave. So this here is route 3, which you can take. You can choose a few different options, and this one has that long cave. You can see some of these boats here are doing a different route, and they just joined up here. I personally really like that cave, and we're stopping here to see what else there is now. The ancient history of Vietnam is so fascinating. There's a plaque over here that explains a little bit about this place, which talks about in 1258, that's really long ago, how this was a good defensive location because of the mountains and everything like that, to stop the Mongolian war horses. So, I mean, just that kind of history is so interesting, and you can learn a lot by going to the different pagodas. This boat ride is an absolute must-do. I didn't do it the first time I came to Ninh Binh, and at 250,000 per person, it's very worthwhile doing. It is 4 people per boat, so if you don't go with more than one person, then you'll be put with other people in the same boat. So if you want a whole boat to yourself, pro tip, you can actually book all the tickets in the boat. I don't know what the other routes are like, but I really enjoyed this route 3. It had the right combination of stopping off at different places and the caves. And I thought 3 hours would be really long, but it actually went pretty quickly. And going in the afternoon was a good idea. It wasn't too hot, and towards the end, I started to see some of that golden hour lights from the sunset, which was really beautiful. So I'm staying here at this place called the Wooden Gates in Ninh, and it's really nice here. It's got this nice swimming pool, rooms are good, very centrally located. It's just a few minutes bicycle ride over to the Moor Cave, which is where the viewpoint is with the dragon. And I think about 3 kilometers away from where the bike ride is. So this area I think is really good if you want to do those 2 activities. So I'm here now at the Binh Pagoda, which I think is one of the biggest pagodas in Vietnam, and it's a whole complex here. You pay to get in, it's about 200,000. And then you get these little electric cars which you can go on around the area because it's so big. Those are the little electric carts that take you around. So a little bit about the history here. It was over 1,000 years ago that there were 3 dynasties in Vietnam, and they were all fighting with each other, but they all believed in Buddhism. So that was the national religion here. And that's why there's this pagoda and many others in Vietnam. So it's quite impressive inside there, and you can see the statue of Buddha, which I believe is the biggest copper statue in Asia. And along the side of the walls there's 1,600 small Buddhas in these little boxes. Very beautiful in there. So inside this one, which kind of looks similar to the other one, there are 3 Buddha statues, and they are representing the past, the future, and the present. And each of them weighs 50 tons. And sometimes you can't really tell the perspective of a video because there's a lot of pagodas like this, but this is actually quite a big one. It's really huge. So it is quite impressive when you're here in person. They have little QR codes at the different places so you can scan them and find out a bit more information about where you're at. For example, the Mother Goddess Cave is here behind me. Part of the original plan, but now I'm here at night, and it was actually a great idea because the sunset from the stupa was beautiful. That's a 100-meter building, and you can go right to the top. There's actually an elevator inside, which is quite funny, but you can go to the top and see the view of the entire complex. And then as it becomes nighttime, the whole place lights up. So it's really beautiful here. I'm in the bell tower now, and there's this huge bell here. So yeah, if you're planning to come here, it's at least a half-day thing, and I would recommend coming in the afternoon. You can see it in the daytime, see the sunset, and then see it at night as well. Okay, so I'm here now at Am Tien Cave, and this is a really nice spot too. There is this road that goes around the lake here. You can walk around or you can cycle around it. It's quite quiet today. There's only someone doing their photos for a wedding, which is really sweet, and a few other people here, not too busy. And you can come up here to this pagoda up on the mountain and also just walk around the lake. It's really beautiful. Cute little cats that were super friendly over here too. It's 50,000 dong entrance, and then you can just walk around, and there's places you can buy some water and snacks as well if you want. And again, here and most places in Vietnam, if you're going to a popular spot, going during the week is a lot better if you can make it, just in terms of it being less busy, so less local tourists are visiting during the weekdays, whereas the weekend it can be quite busy. So if you climb up 300 steps here, you get to one of the tombs. I'm not sure exactly whose tomb this is, but it's really cool up here in the mountains, and you can see one of the emperor's tombs. Okay, confirmed, found the sign. It is the tomb of Emperor Dinh, who was the ruler during the Dinh dynasty in, I think, the 900s. So I'm here now at the Hoa Lu ancient capital, and this is one of the places that there were kings living, and there are tombs here of these kings. And this was during the Dinh dynasty, and this one is the shrine of one of the other emperors who was not respected as much and wasn't thought to be a good emperor. And it's a whole complex that you can just go around and check out. And this here is the Hoa Lu ancient town, where there are all these beautiful lights you can see out over the lake over here. And this is a really pretty spot to come to at night. So this is the burnt rice with goat sauce. So I'm staying at this place called Binh Garden Resorts, and it's about $1 million a night, which is not cheap, but it is a nice spot. When I was looking at places, there were plenty of options, you know, $20, $30 a night, and I think there's even hostels in this area where you could, you know, get something from like $10 to $20 a night. And the Wooden Gate spot that I went to was about 800,000 a night. That one was a better location to be near the Mua Caves with the Dragon Viewpoint and the boat ride, although this is quite close to the boat ride too. But here in Binh, it's literally a few minutes walk to the Binh Pagoda. So if you want to explore the pagoda, which is definitely at least a half-day thing, you could do it in a full day even. Then staying nearby here is nice. So I think that was quite nice, staying in the two different areas for a couple of nights each. And it's October now, and at this time of year, the weather has been really good the last few days. It's just started raining a slight bit here, but it's my final day. I'm heading back to Saigon now. So I escaped the rainy season in Saigon for a few days, which was nice because the seasons vary a bit in Vietnam. So if you'd like to live in Vietnam and experience trips like this, you can consider teaching English in Vietnam, which is a great way to live in Vietnam and explore the country. And if you'd like to learn more about that, you can download a copy of our salary, living expenses, and startup cost guide in the description below, or just head over to ninjateacher.com, where we help people start teaching English abroad. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. See you soon in a new video about life in Vietnam, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.